Okay. Guys, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Let's start with the session then. I say that there are not many, but we won't wait for too much of time. I have to wind it up a little bit earlier than usual. Yeah, good morning, Ananya. So we'll start with the session anyway. We're going to continue on the clauses, right? Since I already checked your week modules, and then I figured that this is all you have for the quiz, right? So maybe next week, since I don't want to waste too much time, today we'll stay on the clauses part. Maybe do a little bit of more practice on that, and next week maybe we can start with the model verbs. Okay, I don't want to uh, wait too much also, because if you keep waiting for the quiz to be done and then take up new topics, then we probably will not get the time to cover everything once the quiz one is done. Once quiz one is done, everything is like it comes up, rest of the things comes up very quickly. So uh, let's do these questions for today, and then we can actually look at the one next time, because I think week 5 and all is already released for you. Maybe week 6 is also released. So we can take that up next time. So we'll practice a little bit more on the clauses for today's class, and then take up model verbs next. Okay. Mm, I don't know, Mahesh, why that could be the case. Usually it is updated. If you have subscribed to the academic calendar, it should not be difficult for you. I do not know why you don't get notifications. Anyway, I'll do one thing. I'll inform this thing to the team. Okay, let them check if there's anything on their end. Okay, right. Okay, we'll start with the. We have like plenty of questions here, so we're going to begin with the ones. The first 10 sentences could be not difficult, but moderate levels of difficulty. But then the next 30 ones that we have are going to be like a little easier for you. We'll begin with this one, and then we'll go to that. Okay. So I think maybe we won't need more than 30 minutes or so for today's class. Let's see. Let's see. If it works out that way, good. Otherwise, it's all right. We anyway have time till 12:30, right? Okay. So first question, the Sichuan earthquake left a trail of destruction, changing the landscape forever. Same thing, we are going to identify the subordinate clause in this. Sichuan earthquake left a trail of destruction, changing the landscape forever. This is not, again, there will be questions based on infinitive clauses here. You don't have it for the exam, but if you can identify them in the sentence, it would be well and nice. So, what do you think is a subordinate clause in this sentence? Sichuan earthquake left a trail of a Sichuan, maybe. I don't know. My Chinese is bad. I don't understand how it is pronounced. Let's keep it that way. Changing the landscape forever. Which one do you think? Which part do you think is the um,
Change
subordinate clause?
the landscape forever. Subordinate.
Changing the landscape forever, right? So even if you do not know what kind of subordinate clause that is, you should be able to pick out the subordinate clause. If you get a question like this, nobody, you can get questions like this to identify the subordinate clause. Okay, maybe nobody will ask you, at least for this course here, that what kind of clause this is, but you will be asked questions like this to pick out the uh, subordinate clause. So, changing the landscape forever is your subordinate clause, because the rest, if you look at the other sentence, it's like it's an independent clause, right? Here, changing the landscape forever is the subordinate clause, because it has a verb, but then it is not a complete sentence, right? So, changing the landscape forever. Second one, latest figures suggest that over 69,000 people have been killed.
Changing the landscape forever is which type of clause?
Yeah, changing the landscape forever is what kind of a clause? You tell me, try to see.
Is it adjectival?
It is not adjectival. What information is it giving? Changing the landscape forever.
So it is adverbial because it is giving a reason.
Yeah, maybe, right? So that's the reason. Adverbial because it is telling you how, right? The manner in which the destruction happened, changing the landscape forever. How did the destruction happen? In a way that it changed the landscape forever. So since it's giving you information on the manner in which the destruction or, the whole process has happened, this is most convincingly an adverbial clause. Okay. Great. Okay, so latest figures. Okay, second question. Latest figures suggest that over 69,000 people have been killed. Which part is subordinate clause and what kind of clause? Latest figures suggest
That
that.
over 69,000 people have killed.
Okay, right. So that over 69,000 people have been killed. That's right. That's your subordinate clause. And what kind of clause would that
Noun.
be? Which one? Sorry?
Noun.
Noun, right? Noun. Noun because it's the.
It is working as object.
Yeah, it is acting as the object of the verb suggest. Okay, good. Uh, I'm glad you're catching up on that. Right. So the third question, the Beijing government responded quickly to a disaster that no one could have predicted.
That no one could have predicted.
Okay, let's see. The Beijing government responded quickly to a disaster that no one could have predicted. Yes, okay, so that no one could have predicted. And what kind of clause would this be?
Adverbial.
Yes. No, 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 no.
Additionally,
Additional information is adjective. A disaster that no one could have predicted. Correct. Yeah. You're right, Kumar Rajan. This an adjectival clause because that no one could have predicted is giving you additional information about the noun a disaster. Okay. A disaster that no one could have predicted. So, adjectival clause. Okay. Fourth one, flying over the vast area, we could see that rescue would not be easy. Flying over the vast area, we could see that rescue would not be easy.
flying over the vast area.
Flying over the vast area. Yes, that is also a subordinate clause. You're right. There's one more that.
That rescue would not be easy.
That rescue would not be easy. So we could see that rescue would not be easy. Flying over the vast area, what kind of subordinate clause is it? This is an infinitival clause. Okay, so we're not going to discuss what it is since you don't have to know them for your course. So we're just going to leave, no, not noun, because
Adjective.
it's not subject. It's not a subject there. It's just an additional clause there. It's an infinitival clause. Okay, and we're not going to look at it that way. Actually, not even infinitive clause. This should be flying over the vast area. Okay. We'll discuss that in a while, but tell me first, what is the other clause? That rescue would not be easy.
Yes.
We could say that rescue would not be easy. What would that clause be?
We could see that rescue would not be easy. That ma'am.
That one. The second one that you see there, no? That rescue would not be easy. That is your another clause, no?
independent clause.
No, no. What kind of clause? What kind of clause? Not we could see that rescue would not be easy. I'm talking about the subordinate clause within that sentence. We could see that rescue would not be easy. That one.
Adjective. No, adverbial, because it is giving a reason.
We could see that rescue would not be really. Look at that carefully. I'm not looking at the messages. Somebody has already answered. Noun, right? We could see what? We could see that rescue would not be easy. Again, this is an object to the verb see, right? We could see what? We could see that rescue would not be easy. So this one is a noun clause. Okay. Now, what about flying? What is that? Flying over the vast area. This is an infinitable clause, like I said, but I'm not going to explain that to you since it's not a part of. I don't want to confuse you with things that are not part of. Okay, that is also a subordinate clause, special kind of subordinate clause. It's called an infinitable clause because it has a participle in that. Flying is a participle. It's called a present participle, which is why. But we're not going to look at it since you don't have to know that. But if you get a question on just picking out the subordinate clause, then make sure that you mark flying over the vast area also, because that's also a subordinate clause. You probably may not be asked what kind of clause it is, but people might ask you to pick out the subordinate clause. Okay. Fifth one, over 1 million people were forced to leave their villages. Again, you don't have to tell me what kind, but tell me what would be a subordinate clause here.
To leave their village.
Not were forced to leave their village. To leave their villages is the uh, clause. Okay, subordinate clause. To leave their villages, right? This is again an infinitival clause because you have the to infinitive, to leave, right? Infinitival because we know that this verb cannot be used as an action word, because if it's an infinitive, then it is not going to be possible to use it in the regular way, right? Which is why infinitive. But that is fine. We are not going to go into the discussion. But to leave their villages would be your subordinate clause. Okay, were forced to leave their villages. To leave their villages. Okay. Then comes
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Can you please explain fifth one once again, because I'm not. It is very
Which
hard.
one? Sorry.
Fifth one, the recent one.
Fifth one.
Yeah, because it is very hard to identify the clause in that
Yeah,
sentence.
the clause. What is a clause? The main condition for a clause is that it should have a verb, right? So if you look at the expression to leave their villages, does it have a verb?
No.
Does it not have a verb? It has a verb. It
It
has
would
to
leave.
leave.
Yeah.
Huh. It has to leave as the verb there, right? But is that part complete?
But without that sentence, without that clause, the main sentence is also looks like an incomplete one.
That is all right. That is all right. Okay, because it has another. See, it has a. This one is acting as a object to the main verb in the independent clause, right? We call this one as the subordinate clause because this even doesn't have a subject. Does the other one have a subject? Does it have a subject and a verb?
Yeah, but ma'am, it seems incomplete without having the last part.
That is
The
right.
main
I'm not
clause
saying
is.
it is not incomplete, but see, the analysis is there's a larger sentence, and to which to leave their village is a part, right? The other sentence is not a part of to leave their villages. To leave their villages is a part of the larger sentence. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So we are only looking. So if when you have to pick out the subordinate clause, it needs to be a part of a larger sentence. The larger sentence cannot be treated as the subordinate clause. That is the main sentence or main clause to which to leave their villages is a subordinate clause. We call them subordinate for that reason.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Because otherwise, if I say to leave their village, it's not a clause, it's just a phrase. It's a verb phrase, not a
Mm-hmm.
clause.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. No problem. Sixth one, battered by torrential rain, rescuers tried to reach isolated villages.
Battered by torrential rain.
Battered by torrential rain? Yes, battered by
Rescuers
torrential rain.
tried to reach isolated villages.
Sorry?
Independent clause.
Yes, yes. Independent clause would be rescuers tried to reach isolated villages. Yes, that's right. And subordinate would be battered by torrential rain. Okay, correct. Okay. If the rain continues, authorities fear that newly formed lakes may burst their banks.
If the rain continues,
Yes, if the rain continues, correct. Then,
that newly formed lakes may
yes,
burst their
that
banks.
newly formed lakes may burst their banks. So, two subordinate clauses. One is if the rain continues. Okay. Second is that newly formed lakes may burst their banks. Right. So, if the rain continues is basically it's a condition. Right. So, if it's a condition, then what kind of clause is this? Adverbial, right? Adverbial is the one which tells you about condition. Purpose, condition, manner, place, time, all of that is the job of the adverbial phrase. So if the rain continues, makes it an adverbial clause. And then the second one, authorities fear that newly formed lakes may, so that newly formed lakes may burst their banks. What would this be? Authorities fear that. So authorities fear what? Right? You can ask a question like that. Authorities fear what? I told you, when you have sentences, you need to first figure them out into subject, verb, object, right? At least if you're not figuring out the subject and object, find out what is the main verb of that particular clause, right? That helps you find out the subject and the object. And then you can analyze which component of that has a subordinate clause. Okay, so what's the answer for this one then? Authorities fear
Noun.
noun clause, right? Noun clause. So that newly formed lakes may burst their banks is basically a noun subordinate clause. Authorities fear what? Authorities fear that newly formed lakes may burst their banks. So that clause is an object to the verb fear there. Okay.
Ma'am, in the
Hmm.
sixth one, uh,
Hmm.
to reach isolated village, just is that a subordinate clause too?
You can use that as a subordinate clause as well. Yes, that's right. Rescuers
Then it
tried.
will be noun, right?
It will be noun clause, correct. So rescuers tried to reach isolated villages. To reach isolated villages will also be subordinate clause, and we'll treat them as noun clause. Okay, they act as noun clause. That's right. Okay. Uh, where is what were we discussing? Eighth one. No one is sure what will happen to the displaced villages when the rescue work ends. No one is sure what. Huh.
When the rescue work ends.
Okay, no one is sure what will happen to the displaced villages when the rescue work ends. Okay, when the rescue work ends,
Adverbial clause.
definitely. Adverbial
Adverbial
clause,
clause.
correct. Yeah, that is one set of clause. Anything else?
I think what will happen.
What will happen to the
When to
displaced
the
villages is also a subordinate clause. Okay, what will happen to the displaced villages is also a subordinate clause. Now, question is what kind of clause?
noun clause.
No one is sure. It's okay. Question clauses. Yes, question clauses are usually noun clauses. That's right. No one is sure what will happen to the displaced villagers. Let me, but double check before telling that. Although question clauses can be always noun clauses. Hmm, one is sure. Just check if you can replace it with a noun before we confirm. Can we replace it with another noun?
Ma'am, can you repeat your question again?
Sorry?
Can you repeat your question again?
Oh, I was asking, see if you can replace that what will happen to the displaced villagers part, the subordinate clause, with a noun, because we are checking if it is a noun clause, right? I
Ma'am, I
don't think
don't
a
think.
direct substitution is possible, but let's see. Question clauses are, however, noun clauses, right? So no one is sure what will happen. Yeah. So what will happen to the displaced villagers, even though a direct substitution is not possible, that particular clause can act as a noun clause because it's giving you information. You can replace it with something else which is more nominal in nature. Okay, it may not have exactly, may not look like a straightaway noun, but still it has nominal functions to perform, right? We discussed about nominal functions in, I think, a week before or so. Nominal function basically means something which can behave like a noun, right? So this clause, question clauses in general can do that. What will happen to the displaced villagers? It has a nominal quality. Whatever happens can have a nominal quality. Okay. So this is a noun clause then. And then when the rescue work ends, this is definitely what? This is an adverbial clause because it tells you about the time, right? Okay. So that is for question number 8. And then ninth one, the Olympic torch relay, which Beijing sees as a public relations exercise, may be suspended.
The Olympic torch relay?
Which Beijing sees as a public.
which public relates express.
Correct. Which Beijing sees as a public relations exercise. That one. That particular part. That would be your subordinate clause. Okay. Which
Then,
Beijing. Yeah.
then what is the independent clause in this?
The
What is it?
Olympic turn.
The Olympic torch relay may be suspended. This is your independent clause. Okay. The Olympic torch relay may be suspended is your independent clause, to which you are adding the subordinate clause, which is giving an additional information about the Olympic torch relay, which Beijing sees as a public relations exercise. Okay.
But ma'am, in the Olympic torch relay, there is no verb in it.
Olympic torch relay is a noun, or an Olympic torch relay.
Okay.
So
That's an
what
event
type
that
of
happens at the Olympics.
subordinate class is this?
You tell me if which Beijing sees as a public relations exercise, what is it doing in the sentence?
Adjective?
No, adjectival clause because it's giving you additional
Noun.
information about the Olympic torch relay, right?
Okay.
Noun.
Not noun. Why will it be noun? If it's giving additional information, then it has to be an adjective, right? Additional information about the noun. Olympic torch relay is the event, which is a noun. And then which Beijing sees as a public relations exercise is an additional information about the Olympic torch relay, right? Which is a noun. So if you have a clause which is giving additional information about noun, then it has to be an adjectival clause. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. It is last one here, but we're going to do more from, and that exercise is an easier one. So the last one here, it is one of the worst natural disasters to strike China in recent centuries. It is one of the worst.
To strike China in recent centuries.
China in recent centuries.
Strike China in recent centuries. It is one of the worst natural disasters to strike China in recent centuries. Yes. To strike China in recent centuries is going to be your
Yes,
subordinate clause.
adverb,
And
I
it's
think so.
infinitive. Sorry?
Adverb.
Not adverb. Adverb, see, you cannot call a clause adverbial unless it gives you some information on manner, time, place, reason, purpose, condition, right? If none of this is being expressed, then it cannot be an adverbial clause. Okay. For understanding this topic on clauses, types of clauses, the only thing you need to have an idea about is the functions of these three, what you also call as parts of speech. We call them word classes, but basically parts of speech. So you should know what an adverb is, what an adjective is, and what a noun is, right? This is because that is how you figure out whether the given clause functions as a noun or as an adverb or an adjective, right? So if you've noticed by now, we see that there is no other indicator to find out whether a given clause is any of these. That clauses can be adjectival clauses, that clauses can be noun clauses, that clauses can be adverbial clauses also. So relative pronouns, which are usually the markers of subordinate clauses, right? Like for example, that, which, where, when, who, whose. These kind of words usually help you figure out which one is the subordinate clause. Not all sentences are going to have these markers. Some of them come without it. And even in the ones which come with these markers, you cannot really, say that, oh, because there is when and there is what and all that, oh, let's just mark it as noun clause or adverbial clause. Okay. You have to read that clause within the sentence to find out what is it functioning as. Is it functioning as a noun there? Is it functioning as an adjective in that sentence? Is it functioning as an adverb, right? And if you know the functions of all the three of them, then it is easy for you. If you're checking for adjectival clauses, then all you have to see is whether that given clause is giving any additional information about a noun,
Is it
right?
adjective? Ma'am?
Sorry?
Is it adjective? Adjective type of class? Subordinate class?
No, I don't understand your question.
No, I'm not asking question, ma'am. I'm just saying the answer.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So if it is giving additional information, then it has to be, additional information about noun, right? If it is specifically about a noun, then it has to be an adjectival clause. If the additional information is about, say, a verb, that is an action, then it has to be an adverbial clause, right? Remember, adverbs and adjectives are both modifiers, but what they modify are different components. Adjectives can only modify or describe a noun. Adverbs, on the other hand, they can describe a verb. It can describe, yes, adjective and another adverb, right? Three things can be described or modified by adverbs. And when they modify, what do they modify? What kind of information do they give? They can give you information about place, time, manner, condition, reason, purpose, right? So if these kind of information is what you derive from your given clause, then it is adverbial in nature. Okay. Then you have a noun clause. Noun clause is simpler than any of these two, because noun clauses just perform nominal function, noun-like function, right? Or a pronoun-like function, which is basically same, right? So it can, in a sentence, there are only two places where a noun can come or a pronoun can come, which is subject and object. So when you have a sentence, you're going to look at the sentence and find out the subject and the object. And if you find that the subject or the object contains a clause, right? The object is expressed in the sentence as a clause, then you can go ahead and mark it as a noun clause. That's all. Okay. So understanding the functions of the three word classes, noun, adjective, and adverb, is the only clue here. It's very less complicated than what you think. The sentences look a little difficult for you because you are in English too. So we are required to introduce you to more complex constructions in English, right? These constructions are very, very necessary for you to become proficient users of English, especially when you write in English, right? Simple sentences are fine, but the test is that you also know how to construct complex sentences. And complex sentences is nothing but a sentence which has a subordinate clause in it. That's all. Okay. Right. We're going to look at the set of questions which we have on screen now. This is now comparatively easier compared to your previous 10 questions. But someone who's looking forward to up your game in English, someone who's looking forward to gain better proficiency in English, you should be constantly looking or should be on a watch out for the kind of sentences that we just discussed. Okay. The ones we're going to discuss now, they're bit easier, right? They're very simply constructed. Let's take a look at them also. You'll understand how they are different from each other. Okay, but same thing, same exercise. We're going to figure out what the subordinate clause is, and then we're also going to look at the kind of subordinate clause. Okay. Right. So first question here, and these questions are from an internet source. You can access this. I have also given the link to that. In case there are people looking for answers, I don't indicate answers in my worksheet because that just defeats my purpose. But if you're looking forward to the answers for this particular exercise alone, the link is provided. You can click on that and go to that website and find out the answers. Okay. Now, the first one, they serve God well who serve his children. They serve God well who serve his children.
Who serve his children.
Okay. Who serve his children, right? And what kind of subordinate clause is this?
Adjective.
Noun.
They serve God well. Who serve his children?
Noun plus, ma'am.
Yes. Is it noun or is it adjective?
Noun,
Adjective.
ma'am.
Noun.
Okay. Reasons. Why adjective and why noun? Two answers I got.
Additional information.
Sorry? Additional information about, so what is it giving additional? So your answer is for adjective?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So additional information about what?
About God.
Is it about God?
Yeah. They serve God well who serve his children. So God is the one who serve his children. So
God is not the one who serves children. You read the sentence carefully. They serve God well, who serve his children.
yeah, they are serving God. So automatically God will serve his children.
No. Your answer, adjectival clause is right, but the explanation is wrong. Because you have identified the wrong part which is being modified or which is given additional information about. Who serve his children is related to which part of the other sentence?
Who is related to God.
Read again. Who serve his children? They serve God well, who serve his children? That part is related to God? No, it is related to they. Right? It's talking about they. Who serve his children is related to they. Right? It provides more information about they, the people whom it is being referred to. Who is serving these
This
people?
noun adjective, ma'am.
Sorry?
It's describing the noun, not the. Sorry, it's describing the subject, not the
See,
object, ma'am.
wait. Did I not tell you? See, every time I tell you noun clause, I keep saying noun or pronoun, right? Both noun and pronoun have nominal qualities. What is a pronoun? Let's go back to
Yeah,
the high school definition of that. What is a pronoun?
Replacement of noun.
A replacement of noun, right? Or to be more specific, Renan Martin will tell you a word that is used instead of noun. That is a pronoun, right?
Yeah,
So,
yes, ma'am.
then if it is something that is used instead of noun, it should have the same quality as noun, right? Same function as noun, right? So they, which is a pronoun here, is acting like the noun. It's a subject of the sentence. It has nominal qualities. And who serve his children is about the word they, not about God. Okay. You need to read the sentence carefully. They is what is being given additional information about, because they are the one who are serving, not God. God needn't serve. Why should God serve? Right? They serve God well who serve his children. So basically, those who serve others are serving God. This is the
That
meaning
would
of
be
the
a
sentence.
proverb like
Okay.
if they serve the God will automatically will help them by serving their children. So that's what I thought about.
Yes, ma'am.
No. They serve God well who serve his children is basically who serve his children is about not God. Okay. Who serve his children? Because you're saying his children. Whose children? God's children. So who serve his children? Who's serving? They. They are the ones serving. So the additional information is about, you can see, you can simply say they serve God well. Say, for example, I'm not bothering with this part. This is your subordinate clause, right? So I'm leaving this. My only sentence is they serve God well. Now, what question will you ask? Who? Who serve God well? What would be the answer in this comparison? The one who serve his children, right? Okay, they serve God well. And I ask a question, who? And then I say that the one who serve his children. And that part is related to God or they. It is related to they, right? Not God. Okay, understood? Yes, no?
I'm still confused. I think it will be God.
No, no. So you tell me what you don't understand.
It will be like they serve God well. Who serve his children means like who God serve his children back.
No, 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 no. They serve God well, who serve his children. Okay. No. Who serve his children is related to God. That interpretation is wrong. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Okay. They serve God well, who serve his children. If you're reading it as God is the one who's serving the children, then that sentence doesn't make any sense overall. It doesn't give you any meaning when you're making God as the person who's serving. Okay. This is a biblical sentence, so it has like its interpretation. But even otherwise, even if you're reading it outside that biblical space, still you cannot have that.
If it was their children, it will be correct. Am I right, ma'am?
Sorry?
They serve God who serve their children. So in that situation, our
No.
explanation would be correct. Like
Meaning here is that in the biblical context, usually when you're referring to God and people are considered as God's children. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
So they serve God well, who serve his children. This is why the sentence has come about like that. If you want better clarity, then maybe you can change the sentence. But however you change it, it's not going to be any different, right? You can say those who serve his children serve God well. You can rewrite the sentence like that. Those who serve his children serve God well. Okay. If you rewrite the sentence like that, that's also possible. Those who serve his children, children.
No, I mean like if instead of his we wrote there, then our explanation would be correct. Am I right, ma'am? Because it
Instead of
refers
his
to
what?
God.
No, I didn't get your
Instead
question.
of his,
Hmm.
if we write there, then our explanation would be correct because
They serve God well who serve their children. But that is a different sentence. Your explanation would be correct.
yeah.
That would be a very
So in
different
here
sentence.
they are just writing only his. So I think God will be the correct one.
No, no.
Sorry, I mean, how to say, your explanation is correct. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah. So just to remove confusion, you can maybe rewrite the sentence. I mean, you won't get a rewrite sentence if it is appearing in an exam, but you can read the sentence in this way. The meaning for this sentence would be rewritten in this way. Those who serve his children serve God well. Okay. His children, his here is in reference to God. Okay. His children serve God well. Those who serve his children serve God well. Okay. This is like a rewritten, rephrase a sentence which is basically they serve God well who serve his children. Okay. Okay, all right. Enough discussion on that. So who serve his children is basically an adjectival clause, and what is it giving additional information about they? Okay. Second one, quarrels won't last long if the fault is only on one side. Quarrels won't last long if the fault is only on one side.
If the fault only on
If
large
the
If
one
fault
the,
side.
If the fault is
correct.
only one side.
Yeah. So, and what kind of clause is this? If the fault is only on one side.
Adverbial.
Adverbial clause. Okay. Condition. Okay. Third one. That you should say so surprises me. That you should say so surprises me.
That you should say so.
so surprises
That
me.
that you should say so. Okay. That you should say so is your subordinate clause. Surprises is verb and me is your object. That you should say so is the subject and that is basically the subordinate clause. So what kind of clause is this?
Noun.
Noun
Noun.
clause. Okay. Noun clause. What surprises me? That you should say so surprises me. So noun clause. Fourth one. Your statement that you found the money in the closet cannot be believed.
That you found the money in the closet cannot be
That you
believed.
found the money. That you found the money in the closet. Okay. So that one. So what would it be then? What kind of clause?
Now,
Adjective.
Your statement that adjectival clause. Additional information, right? It's a relative clause basically, or adjectival as you want to say it, because that you found the money in the closet is basically something's giving that is giving additional information on your statement. You can also say your statement cannot be believed, right? But that you found the money in the closet is giving additional information of what the statement was. Okay? So that is adjectival or relative. Fifth one, I asked the boy how old he was. I asked the boy
how
how old
old
he was.
he was.
How old
How
he
old
was.
How
he was.
old he was.
Okay, and what is that?
Noun.
What kind of? I asked the boy how old he was.
Noun.
Ma'am,
Ad-
noun.
Noun.
Is it noun?
Adjective.
Yeah, it's noun.
It's
I
work
asked
as
the,
an
Because
object.
it's
it is a noun clause.
yeah.
I asked the boy how old he was, right? Ask is what? It is a ditransitive verb, which means something that has two objects, right? I asked the boy how old he was, right? How old he was is what? It is your subordinate clause, and this is what? What kind of clause?
Noun.
No.
Noun.
Okay, you as long as you get the explanation, I'm fine. Okay, if you have doubts in that, you must ask. Okay, noun clause acting as the object of the verb ask. Okay, all right. How old he was? So, to continue on that explanation, ditransitive verb. Direct object would be the boy or how old he was. Which one would be the direct object? Will the boy be the direct object of the verb ask or
The
will how
boy.
old he was? No.
No, no,
Ask.
sorry. The
I
boy is
Ask.
the
ah, ah,
indirect object, and how old he was will be.
will be the direct object,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I asked what? The question what is answered by how old he was. Right? So that's the direct object. To whom did you ask? The boy. That is the indirect object. Okay. Right. Sixth one. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Uneasy lies the head that wears
That
the crown.
wears the crown.
That wears the crown. And what kind of clause is this?
Adjective.
Adjective.
Adjective. Adjective. Correct. The head that wears the crown, right? So that wears the crown is a relative or adjectival clause. Youth is the time when the seeds of character are sown.
When the seeds of character are
When the seeds of character
Right.
are
When the
sown.
seeds of character are sown. Correct. What kind of clause?
adverb,
Adjective.
adverbial,
I heard everything now. Adverb and adjective. Which one? When the seeds of character are
adverb,
sown.
adverb,
Adjective.
Youth is the time when the seeds of character are sown.
it's
Who's
indicating
saying
time.
adverbial? Whoever
Yeah,
is saying adverbial, please tell me why.
yeah, because it's describing about time when the seeds of character are sown. So that's why adverbial. Adverb of
But
time.
but read this together. The time when the seeds of character are sown. So even when the seeds of character are sown, an additional information about the time when the seeds of character are sown.
Maybe adjective.
It is an adjectival clause. Okay. So again, don't fall for the trap of when and where and all that. It can very well be. See, all of them in the context of clauses are just relative pronouns. They just help you to join the subordinate clause with the main clause, right? It doesn't automatically mean that you have when and where. So it is about place and time and all that. Read it in the context and find out what it is doing. Okay. So here it is an adjectival clause. Where are we? Okay. Servants who are honest are trusted. 8. Servants who are honest are trusted.
Servants who are honest.
Who are honest?
Subordinate clauses who are honest. Yeah. And what kind of clause?
Adjective.
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 Adjectival. Correct.
Adjective.
Okay. Correct. Because I like you, I will help you. 9th one. Because I like you.
Because I like you.
Because I like you. Correct. And what kind of clause?
Adverbial.
Because I like you. Adverbial.
Adjective.
Right? Adverbial because it
Adjective.
gives you reason. Why will I help you? Reason, right? Because I like you. So this is an adverbial clause. Okay. The dog followed the boy wherever he went. The dog followed the boy wherever he went.
Wherever he went.
Wherever
Wherever
he
he
went.
went.
Wherever he went.
Wherever he went, and this is
Adverbial.
Adverbial.
correct. Correct. Adverbial. Then if I like it, I will buy it. 11th one. If I like it, I will
like
buy
it.
it. If I
If
like
I
it.
like
Correct.
it.
If I
Adverbial.
like it. Adverbial. Correct.
Adverbial.
Adverbial.
12th one, they spoke in a low voice so that the child would not wake up. They spoke in a low voice so that the child would not wake up.
That the child.
That the
would
child would not wake up.
That the child would not wake up. Okay. So, what is the answer? No, is it that the child would not
Yeah, that the child would not wake up.
spoke in a low voice?
So
The
that.
whole of that. So that
So
the
that the
child would
child
not
would
wake
not
up.
wake
Not
up.
that the
Okay.
child. So that the child would not wake up. And adverbial, right? Reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I did it because I wanted to.
Because I wanted to.
Because I wanted to.
Adverbial.
Adverbial. Because I wanted
Adverbial.
to. Adverbial. Correct. Okay. As he was not there, I spoke to his mother.
As he was not there.
As he was
As
not
was not
As he
there.
was not there.
As he was not there is your
Adverbial.
subordinate.
Adverbial.
Adverbial. Yeah. Adverb. Correct.
Adverbial.
Yeah. Just as he entered the room, the clock struck 11.
Just as
Just
he
as
entered
he
the room.
just
he
as
entered the room.
entered the room. Adverbial.
Adverbial. Okay. Just as he
Adverbial.
entered the room, adverbial. If you eat too much, you will fall ill.
If
If
you
you
eat
eat
too much.
If you eat so much.
Adverbial.
Adverbial.
Too much.
Adverbial.
Adverbial. Okay. We asked him many questions when he returned.
When he
When he
returned.
returned.
When he returned.
Adverbial.
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 Where?
Okay, all right. My parents were poor, though they were of noble birth.
Though they were
of
of
a
noble.
noble birth.
Though they were of noble birth. So what is that?
Adverbial.
Adverbial.
Adverbial. That's also adverbial.
Adverbial.
Correct. Okay, Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was as white as snow.
Whose fleece was
Whose
as
fleece
white
was
as snow.
as white as snow.
Okay, whose fleece was
Adjective.
as white as snow. This is easy for you, know. This is more like high school.
Yeah.
Whose
Adjective.
fleece was as white as snow, and this is what?
Adjective.
Adjectival. Correct.
Adverbial.
Correct. Adjectival.
Adjective.
I still live in the same city where I was born.
Where I was born.
Where
Where
I
I
was
was born.
Where I
Born.
was.
adjectival.
Adverbial.
Adjective.
Really?
Adjective.
I still live in the same city where I was born. What is this? Adjectival.
Yeah.
I knew
Adjective.
somebody will say adverbial for sure, and that happened. I'm never wrong on that guesses. Adjectival. This is a city where I was born, right? So, additional information. Okay. He met a girl whose eyes were blue.
Whose eyes were blue.
Whose eyes were
Eyes
blue.
were
Eyes were blue.
Adjective.
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 Yes, yes. I often wonder how you are getting on.
How you are
How
getting
you are getting on?
Mm.
adverbial.
Adverbial.
Why is it adverbial?
Because it's giving the meaning of reason. I often wonder.
Reason?
Yeah,
It's not reason. I often wonder why. It's not answer the question why. It is a reason. What is this one?
Adjectival.
Noun.
No,
I
it is
often
noun.
wonder what.
Yes, yes, it's a noun clause. I often wonder what. I often wonder how you are getting on. It's a noun clause, right? Not. It doesn't tell us anything additionally about manner, time, or place, or anything. This is a noun clause. I often wonder how you are getting on. I often wonder what, how you are getting on. It's a noun clause. 23rd, he asked me where I lived.
Where I
Where I
live.
lived.
Where
Noun.
I live.
Okay.
Adjectival.
Noun.
He
Exact.
asked, he asked me where I lived.
now
Ask is what we just discussed. Ask is a ditransitive verb. And where I lived is a question clause. Question clause is always noun clause. Okay. So he asked me where I lived. Where I lived is your direct object. He asked what? He asked where I lived. To whom did he ask? Me. It's indirect object. Where I lived is your noun clause. The fact that he is silent proves his guilt. The fact that he is silent proves his guilt.
That he is silent proves
That
it.
Silent proof.
Correct, correct. That he is silent. That he is silent is your
Noun.
subordinate verb.
adverbial.
Adverbial, why? Why will it be adverbial?
Reason.
Noun because it's works as object.
I think so.
Okay.
Adjective.
Okay, so adverbial because there is reason, and noun because it works as the object. Explain. There is no reason that he is silent is not a reason. I don't see any reason there. The fact that he is silent,
Adjective
no
because it
reason.
describes about the fact.
Yeah, that is the answer. That's the right answer. That he is silent is not noun or adverbial. It is adjective. The fact, which fact? That he is silent, right? That's an additional information on the noun, the fact. So this is an adjectival clause, not adverbial or neither adverbial nor noun. Okay, the fact that he is silent. So that he is silent is a clause that is attached to the fact. It's talking about the fact, right? It's additional information on the fact. What fact? That he is silent, right? So this one is an adjectival clause. Okay. All right. Do you need practice? I feel like yes, you need. You have understood things, but sometimes you're not applying it properly. So you will have to take a look at this. Do a few more exercises. I think I have done at least 40, 45 odd questions on this. This can go on forever if I sit with this. It's possible. So what you can do is like the one which I just did. This is this is not like a very easy one. It's a moderately difficult level of exercise in subordinate clause. Don't go for anything that is, beginner level. Look at exercises that are at intermediate and advanced levels, right? So you can go to one of the websites like this. I chose it from English Grammar. There are many other websites which can give you worksheets for this. Try solving a few questions. And the good thing with the websites are if you're using worksheets from them, then they'll also carry the answers. So you can cross check with them. Right? So do that. Get a grip on this one, right? This is a once you're able to do this one, no, most of what you want to learn in English is actually done, more or less. You can speak well, you can write well also if you're able to construct good complex sentences. So keep working on that. And if you get stuck with any sentences, then you can of course get back to us, write to us or talk to us and get it figured out. Okay. But continue doing some practice with this. I think you don't have anything else for the quiz 2 because 4th week, I think it is a it's a writing skill module. So the first three, and particularly the clauses, do some practice with all of that. Adverbs should also be fine, but this one is particularly something which can catch your guards off. Okay, so work on this one. If you have questions, then write to us. Okay, we'll try and resolve it for you. Not try, we'll definitely resolve it for you. Okay. All right. So I think I am good for today. If you have any questions, please ask me. I can stay back. It's just 12:28. We have another 2 minutes or so. No problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody, any other questions? If you do not have any questions, you can leave the meeting. We'll end it for today. If there are questions, you can stay back and ask them. Okay. But otherwise, I am officially closing the session. But thank you everyone for coming in. People who have doubts, you can stay. Rest of you can leave the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. See you again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you everyone. See you again next week.